In Hotline Miami, there's a moment when the enigmatic man in the chicken mask asks you,
"Do you like hurting other people?"
In the game, your main goal is to violently massacre and kill entire gangs of people in putrid hotels, dirty warehouses, and shady nightclubs. It's a sensoramic and vivacious experience, borderline hallucinogenic. You just kill, kill, kill. The whole game is blasted with digital blood sprays and synthwave distortions that muddy the screen. The detailed pixel art and VHS digital tearing feels like a shield in a ways. If it was shown to you without this digital framing, you might not be able to stomach the atrocities the game asks of you. It's from a descriptive tongue that it sounds almost unpleasant. Who would want to steep themselves in this kind of depravity for an extended period of time? Every character is toxic, every line spoken is stained, every face shown is in grotesque detail. It's a game that when the main character Jacket is given instructions from a phone call, they tell you to fix some water pipes or pick up a load of laundry and to always be discreet about it. Even the mysterious voices on the phone can't bring themselves to speak out loud what it is they want you to do. If you wanted to stay away from Hotline Miami just from this brief description, nobody could blame you. So when the enigmatic man in the chicken mask asks you,
"Do you like hurting other people?"
it makes you reflect on how you could enjoy such violent atrocities, committed in such a foul, vile manner. Thinking back through all of the murder and killing that you just caused, that you say, yeah, I did. It was pretty fun. Thanks for asking. Can I get back to the murder part now, please? You know what's fun? Video games. You know what's not fun? Murder. You know what happens when you slap those things together? If you're Fox News, you would say a chance to mislead the public with blatant lies. Yes, it is, unfortunately. Thank you for bringing the mood down with your terrible opinions. Stupid media conglomerates. You make me look bad. But a much better answer to that question is some games that slap. Games that use combinations of fun and addicting gameplay with some ballin' boys' night out music. Hotline Miami uses synthwave and stylized nostalgic 80s aesthetics to add a lot of personality to the core gameplay loop, which is satisfying and fluid. The series of colors and emotions you go through in a winning run in Hotline Miami is quite nice. Whenever you die over and over and over again in quick succession to only, in the space of a few seconds, perfectly clear the whole room makes you feel almost like a ninja. A synthwave ninja. Copyrighted. Oh, gotta copyright that crap. Oh, gotta do it right now. Despite its difficulty in some actually really awkward boss fights, it feels good to take a metal baseball bat and violently beat the life out of someone. You get the perfect combination of grinding rails and riding half pipes to extend your combo scores helps make Rollerdrome one of the funnest games I've played in quite a while. The addicting Tony Hawk style gameplay that borrows a lot from that franchise to take its best ideas and warp them into this new score-chasing, gun-toting combat loop. To let you guys in on a little secret, I happen to be a Tony Hawk Pro Skater master. I know, I'm an idiot most of the time, but I've played more Tony Hawk games in my childhood than I've probably spent on some of my most played games on Steam. I am that guy who can casually swoop up a 900,000 score combo in Underground 2 while eating a baked potato. Yes, I am that good. I don't consider myself to be good at video games, even the ones I play a lot. I average around decent to straight up terrible. I don't really see myself good at most things in life, but if there are 3 things in life I am good at, it's breathing, squeezing my genitals, and playing Underground 2. Usually all at the same time. So when I see a brand new game that gives Mr. Hawk some guns, you bet I'm gonna be playing that crap. Playing Rollerdrome feels immediately comfortable to someone like me who's been playing Thug 2 for their entire childhood. The gameplay feels like it has the depth of 7 other video games, layered on top of this one because it essentially does, using its inspiration of Pro Skater to its full advantage. The easy and accessible way that Rollerdrome bakes its min-max optimization of scoring points and juggling combos has made the game extremely easy to feel like a champion of the in-universe sport of Rollerdrome. Kara Hassan, us the main character, feels like bliss to control. With convincing speed and satisfying hang time in the air, it's never felt so good to be stuck inside the perpetual blood sport and systematic nightmare of murdering people on television. broad step and an open mind, you jump straight into the simulated and virtual world of this time-bending shooter Superhot. While not as explicit as the other games in this video, the satisfaction of the core gameplay loop makes Superhot feel like it just belongs with these other games. Of course, at this point, most people are aware of Superhot by now. Time only moves when you do. I'm actually not very familiar with the original Superhot. The only Superhot I've played is Superhot VR, which is maybe one of the coolest effing games I've ever played. With the satisfying game feel and complete immersion of VR, it makes Superhot extremely easy to play and immediately become engaged with. I can even get my typically non-gamer savvy family members to enjoy playing Superhot as well. It's a perfectly paced game. It can go as fast or as slow as you want. You can use guns and shoot the polygonal red enemies and be done with it, or you can get creative and use pretty much anything you can get your hands on. It feels good to play and has plenty of room for depth in its gameplay, and it makes itself feel easy and accessible. Even with my less desensitized family members, it's a game that makes it extremely easy to pull together anybody, any person, no matter who you are, and have them pick up a gun, pick up swords, some weapons, and murder, kill, maim, and kill. In Hotline Miami, the enigmatic man in the chicken mask asks you, do you like hurting other people? It's easy to say no. It's easy to write these dialogues as forcing introspection, to try to get you to wipe away those negative thoughts. After wiping out a whole gang of mobsters, the soundtrack record stops, and the fun, poppy music you bobbed your head to disappears, and you have to walk past the bodies back to your car with some reflective music. It's admittedly kind of forced. I already knew what I was doing was horrible. The fact that most of the time after you finish killing the mobsters, you just leave the building. You're not there for some kind of reward, money, or valuable information. You just kill them and then you leave. The level design shows that you don't even need to go through the enemies to progress. You could at any time walk to the next flight of stairs into the next floor, but you go out of your way to clear out the rooms anyway, just to kill them, and that's all. So this forced introspection from both the trip back to the car and the conversations with the masked figures is obvious. Also to note, obviously you don't enjoy hurting other people, or at least you shouldn't, and if you do, please talk to a licensed therapist. Mental health is important, yo, but you don't enjoy hurting others. This forced messaging and layers of disconnection the game confronts you with is a way of letting you keep it as just that. I don't like hurting people, and look at how this game tries to make me question myself. Ha ha ha, the player must think. It makes it easy to separate from yourself. That's why the game has that VHS and pixel art aesthetic. That's why the awesome synthwave music is always blasting and you get nebulous video gamey scores after defeating enemies. That's why in Rollerdrome, your protagonist Kara, much like Jacket from Hotline Miami and Floating Hands Man in Superhot, are empty shells. They don't talk or have input, they just do as told. In Rollerdrome, the whole game is kept under the context of a televised event. You're playing a sport that is cheered on by millions and you receive adornment from sponsors and organizations. It helps remove your personal stake in what's happening. You aren't killing unprovoked. This isn't homicide. You're performing in front of a crowd. This kind of murder and death isn't like the real thing. This is all part of the performance. It's all a part of the game. It's why in Superhot you're not killing real people, you're shooting indescript shiny glass figures in blank indescript locations. It's all representative of hacking or computer code or whatever Superhot is about. It's all there to filter you from the killing. This isn't what real murder is, this is just a game. We are not these people. These are not our worlds, because only in these worlds would this kind of murder be acceptable. That only blank-faced player vessels would do this kind of thing. We are not blank-faced people, we are human beings with personalities and personas and consciousness. You can feel good about this kind of violence because we're gonna tell you it's okay. We're going to show you why it's only acceptable in this context. Not in our own world, only here, in a safer space, to practice and rationalize difficult concepts. At first, I wasn't sure what binded these games together in my mind. Sure, any game that involves killing bad guys falls in line with these games, but what is it about these particular games that form together in my mind, that feel so good to play and have aesthetics and soundtracks that go harder than necessary? They feel forgiving to me. They create disconnection, deliberate disconnection. And sure, they're all video games. It's in their very nature to be disconnected from the real world. And as video games, they all have ways of distancing yourself from the actions on screen, rather than portraying that violence as standard standard, unremarkable, and commonplace. It shows that this kind of violence only belongs inside of fiction. Sure, these games are about killing, and sure, it's even fun to roleplay as the people who do it, but only in these twisted and disconnected worlds is it something to be seen as normal. Also, these games are just frickin' fun. I don't want to convince you that these games are something that they're not. They're not just introspective thought experiments. Trying to make these games all about that one thing would be flattening everything else they're doing. Do they have something to say about murder in games? Yeah, I feel they do, but the games are also meant to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy playing them. They have deep mechanics and fulfilling gameplay loops. That's not a happy accident. The game was designed and stylized this way because someone thought I would enjoy seeing it. I would enjoy playing it. They're also kind of funny. The humor often rises from the disconnect I was just talking about. We are killing artificial people in overtly violent ways, and it kind of makes you laugh in a pitch black kind of dark comedy way. It's also funny to throw a bottle across the room and pop a guy in the head and super hot. It's funny to watch you shoot a grenade launcher while rollerblading. It's an overtly silly thing to look at. Just limiting these games to killing does a disservice to them. Yes, you spend the majority of the game slugging goons, but you have fun while doing it, because it is, after all, just a game, and games are fun.
Hey, anybody want to play some Uncharted?